than just put on pure recruit classes, we are looking at having lateral police recruit classes. What a lateral class is veteran officers for other agencies that we can hire in a condensed training course so they can be Omaha police officers. I feel it's important to infuse that veteran nature into aggressive hiring campaigns that the Omaha Police Department has had. And then lastly, we will enhance our field supervision within the Omaha Police Department. It is well documented and widely agreed that there are deficiencies in addressing mental illness in our country. Mental illness is a complex issue, and being mentally ill in and of itself is not a crime, nor should it ever be. Too often, law enforcement is left to deal one-on-one with individuals in mental crisis. In this incident, despite our extensive training, we failed. The Omaha Police Department is committed to strengthening our current relationships with those in the mental health community and stands ready to partner with any entity who will champion this cause. I'm going to move to the video and audio evidence and its release to the public. There are criminal charging decisions to be made by the county attorney, and until the full autopsy is back, he cannot make those decisions. In consultation with Douglas County Attorney Don Klein, the video and audio will not be released until court. I want to ensure that this is clear, though. The video and audio will come out to the public. It will come out either in the aftermath of the grand jury proceedings or any criminal proceeding that may commence before or after the grand jury. But right now, it cannot be released while the charging decision is pending. Okay, I'm going to take some questions. Let me say this from the start, though. I know that there's a lot of talk about the media across the country right now, and I can't really speak to that, but I can speak to some things as chief of police with our local media. And I could tell the community, and I want the community to know that our local media tends to get it right. Okay, you're not hearing any complaints from us to the accuracy of stories here locally. And I want the community to also know that we have been aggressively receiving questions by email, directly, phone call from the media since this incident has occurred. So the public should rest assured that the media has been on top of this from day one. We are here today to provide as much transparency and accountability as possible. It took a little longer than usual for me to come out in front of the cameras because I had some extra work to do on this one with the internal investigation and the prolonged criminal investigation. So as I'm taking questions, please state your name, your media organization, and when asking a question, please speak loudly so everybody listening, watching this live streaming can hear it. You don't have a camera, I do. Sometimes it's hard to hear. And I'm going to go ahead and give Aaliyah Conley with the Omaha World Herald the first question because Aaliyah seemed to have the most questions of us right after this. So Aaliyah, what's your question? Just one first, please, and we'll get to the other ones.
Could you say who the officer was that had CIT training, crisis intervention training, and was that training put into use in this situation?
Officer Jennifer Strudel had CIT training, and there was some usage in that as Mr. Bear Heels was being held up against the water bottles.
Chief, Tom Beck, Fox 42.
Hi, Tom.
You say that you can't release the video, and in the past it's always been until it goes to the court and everything. Yet, if a bystander had recorded this and videoed it and released it, that would also interfere with the courts, would it not? Why do we have to wait for the video when, if a bystander had released it, it would already be out there?
Well, the difference is this is evidence produced by a government entity, the Omaha Police Department. These are our cruiser cameras. These are our videos that become part of the evidence trail. The videos that you're talking about would not be part of the evidence trail. And as chief and in consultation with the Douglas County Attorney, there are rules of evidence that should take place. And on this particular instance, we feel it prudent to follow those rules of evidence. It would be very, very unwise for myself to release this tape and the audios prior to any charging decision and prior to the full autopsy coming back. And keep in mind, the Omaha Police Department, myself in particular, Douglas County Attorney's Office, we were instrumental in the grand jury process and getting that to be a public affair after the proceedings. It used to be closed and nobody would know the evidence. Now you do. Now you do. So we want to let the proper chain of evidence, proper course of things occur here before we start showing the videos. And I hope I answered your question. You may not like that, Tom, but we feel it is prudent legally to this matter. And keep in mind, I just described the video very well. I didn't hold anything back, including telling the public I'm not happy with how we handled this. Next question, please.
Taylor with KETV. You said you're recommending 2 officers be terminated. What comes next after that recommendation?
Once they have been made aware, they were made aware just prior to this press conference. What comes after that, they have a chance to have a Laudermill hearing with the city's Human Resources Director, and that person will either confirm or not confirm my firing decision, and then the officers have a chance to appeal that termination. If they appeal, they can take it to a personnel board, or they can take it to an arbitration hearing.
Chief, Andrew Nelson, Omaha World Herald. Can you specifically tell us the CIT measures that did take place when he was against that, well, throughout this incident, but particularly when he was against that water bottle?
One of the things the CIT training will tell you to do is talk very calmly, talk clear, talk softly. Give the person as much distance as possible. They couldn't do it on that occasion with the distance because of the handcuffs, but it did seem, at least on some of the audio that was discernible, that some element of trying to calm him down and get him to go to the cruiser in a proper way was taking place verbally at that point.
Chief Julia Bertino, KFAB. You said that the taser was deployed 12 times. How much would they have actually needed to deploy it? How many extra times was that taser deployed?
The taser usage was justified. And keep in mind, when you taser somebody in handcuffs, you have to have an elevated risk. Okay, we teach that you must have some elevated, extenuating circumstances in order to taser somebody in handcuffs. And that elevated risk would be a danger to himself, a danger to others. There was a point in time where Mr. Bear Heels was aggressively trying to get away, aggressively doing everything he could do in those handcuffs. He was in a very bad state of mind. And at that point in time, the taser would be okay. The taser usage while he was sitting at the car in the rear of the cruiser is against our policies and procedures and training and culture and the whole 9 yards. And it's something as a command staff, universally, you see us all standing behind. They're all standing behind me. Universally, the taser deployments under those circumstances will not be tolerated. In addition, we train that you deploy the taser 3 times. If it does not take effect at that 3rd time, you're to transition to something else.
Chief Paul Gutierrez, Fox 42 News.
Hi, Paul.
You mentioned beefed up training for your officers. Can you speak on that? What can officers expect with that training?
Well, we're comfortable with our training program, but we're going to make sure everybody has a refresher in it. We have in-service training that's conducted every year. The Omaha Police Department goes above and beyond what's required of us by state mandate for our training, and we will make sure that that training is infused. But again, as a command staff, we were comfortable with our training elements. We reviewed all the training reviews for the last several years on all of these officers and on the police department, and it's quite a bit of training. These officers were trained. They chose, for whatever reason, to not adhere to that training. So that is why we want to infuse more supervision in the field to ensure the training that you give is adhered to. And the refresher training is to ensure that the training we give sinks in.
Taylor with KETV again. You recommended the termination of 2 officers, but what is the status of the other 2 that are currently on administrative leave?
The other two officers are currently on administrative leave. They are in the middle of an internal affairs investigation. And at the conclusion of that investigation, I'll make a determination as to what level or if any discipline will be applied.
Don over at WWT.
Hey, Don.
You talked about those lateral classes. How are you going to incorporate some of those senior officers with more experience?
Well, when we open up the hiring process, a lateral class is an attempt to draw from senior officers that work for other agencies. And we've been very aggressive hiring with the Omaha Police Department the last several years. Hired 56 officers, most aggressive period ever. We're about to embark on going from 860 officers all the way to 900. And with retirements and everything included in that, that's a lot of hiring. And when you conduct a regular recruit class, you're generally conducting that class with individuals that have never been police officers before. They're generally younger in age, and they have no experience oftentimes. With a lateral class, we can infuse with those new recruits veteran officers who have worked this career for many, many years and have been through the paces and can help provide street supervision and guidance on some of the calls. Omaha police supervisors can't be everywhere. They cannot be everywhere. I don't have the luxury of having a veteran officer on every single call. This will help us do that.
Chief, can you talk about how inexperience was a factor here? Did any of these officers have prior law enforcement experience before coming to Omaha?
I don't believe any of them had any prior law enforcement experience. And as you could deduce, when I gave their time on the job, they all had less than 5 years. Most had far less than that. They worked on the overnight shift in Southwest Omaha, which is generally one of our more slower shifts for dynamic activity in law enforcement. So their 2 years on the job may be far less than somebody who works the evening shift in a higher crime area. I'm sorry, Andrew, you had another part to that question, right?
Right. How much was inexperience a factor? Because I notice you're talking about, hiring veteran officers.
Yeah. We feel inexperience was a great factor in this situation, and Officer Mosby, who originally responded to that scene, a veteran officer, when he left, that situation was secure. He has many, many years on this job. It's nice when you review a case or call or an incident as the chief and as my command staff behind, and if we see officers with a dozen years on the job, obviously you learn the game a little better. And experience was a factor. It did not appear that anybody took charge of this call. I mean, we were with Mr. Barheels for almost an hour. And that's too long.
Chief, is that a problem in the force in general? In other words, working that night shift, when some more activity like this is more prone to happen, because of the contract and rank and everything, more experienced officers working late at night, is that an issue with the force?
No, it's not an issue with the force. It's not an issue at all. In this circumstances, you just happen to have officers that had that little of experience respond. And I don't want to say that lack of experience is going to lead to bad outcomes, because we have a lot of officers with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years on that are absolutely stellar at what they do. Okay, so I don't want to lead down this path that this inexperience is a problem within the Omaha Police Department. I do not feel it is. On this incident, though, I do.
Chief, Megan Stewart with Channel 3. You said that initial request for backup wasn't able to happen because there was a pursuit going on.
Yes.
If other officers had been able to help that group out, do you think the situation could have ended differently?
Well, sure. But the reality of it is there was enough officers there to handle this situation.
Taylor with KETV again. Why is it only that you recommend using a taser 3 times before transitioning to something else? Is that because of risk for health concerns or shock? Can you talk about that a little?
It's for risk of health concerns, yes.
What would they move on to? Or what's the
Well,
other options that the officers should have done?
Well, let me say this: the taser is a very functional weapon for law enforcement because it provides a less lethal option. Very few people die from the taser, and we should not make the jump here that Mr. Bearheels died from a taser. We don't know. Okay, the autopsy has not come back to complete fruition on that. But a taser provides an officer a less lethal option. It also provides an option to intervene on somebody without using deadly force. And that's the whole premise behind tasers. And as Chief of Police, I do view tasers as a much needed piece of equipment within our agency and of course all major metropolitan agencies. Because I can cite so many instances where the taser prevented somebody, an officer, from having to go to deadly force. For whatever reason, the taser was unsuccessful with Mr. Bearheels. And once that taser is unsuccessful, Aaliyah, you have to transition to other procedures and maneuvers. And they were at the disposal of these officers, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. But when you have somebody in handcuffs, oftentimes it's best just to get a bunch of people around them and control it.
Is that what you would have suggested that they do in that situation?
I'm not going to get into what I suggested because that could go in towards the internal affairs investigation and components of that. And I'd be going down a slippery slope, Aaliyah, and the follow-up questions would really lead me down a perilous path that I would violate the union contract. I don't want to do that.
Chief, how is going to spend contact with the family in this matter? Are they looking to file civil suit charges? Are they looking to sue the city? Have you had any contact with them in that regard?
I haven't had any personal contact with the family, and that's by design. I need my investigators and my supervisors to have a rapport built up with the family and to gain a personal relationship. I don't know what the family intends to do. I do know, and like I said earlier, that I do offer my deepest condolences to the family for this incident. I'll take one more question. WWT, I forgot your name.
Don.
Don.
So you're walking us through that timeline. First, it's kind of a two-parter. At what point, as you're walking through that timeline, is how they kind of responded to this? Did those actions stop being acceptable? And where in there do you think the county attorney might have some kind of discrepancy in here as far as legal action?
Policy-wise, violations started to occur when Mr. Bearheels was dragged across the parking lot by his hair. As he was sitting by the rear cruiser, sitting there, there's several use of force policy violations that occurred during that time period. And that time period is about 1 minute and 45 seconds. I would surmise the county attorney's office is looking hardly at that 1 minute and 45 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close. I want to say the Omaha Police Department has spent a considerable amount of time working with the community, developing community relationships, working with our partners to reduce violent crime in the city, and not only reduce violent crime, but to have strong police-community relations. And to those partners in the community, the Omaha Police Department made a mistake on this occasion, and we're doing whatever we need to correct it. Thank you very much.
That is Omaha Police Chief Todd Schmatter addressing the community about Monday's incident where 29-year-old Zachary Bearheels died after officers used a taser on him. These are the 4 officers who responded to 60th and Center Monday morning. Jennifer Strudel, Michaela Mead, Scotty Payne, and Ryan McClarity. They're all assigned to the Southwest Precinct. Chief recommends firing 2 of them, but under the rules, he is not allowed to tell us which officers. Whoever is fired will have the right to appeal. In addition, the chief says criminal charges are being considered, but no decisions have been made.
The chief says clearly policies were not followed. Using a taser for 1 minute would mean the device was activated 12 times.
Yeah, the chief says officers are instructed to use a taser no more than 3 times. This is what the policy reads. When deploying a taser, officers are instructed to keep the device activated for the full 5-second energy cycle, and then to use that 5 seconds as a window of opportunity to handcuff someone.
Policy notes multiple taser shots should be used only if officers are not able to gain control for handcuffing or if the subject continues to resist.
And even then, the policy says that officers should deliver only the number of energy cycles reasonably necessary to control the subject. And if multiple hits do not work, alternative uses of force should be considered. We will update this breaking news for you coming up at KETV Newswatch 7 at 5.
And for more information right now, check the KETV mobile app and KETV.com. Now back to regular programming.